My wife and I work as a team. She works harder than I do, you know.
You do become a soulmate.
Grief-stricken Sharon broke down in tears. With Kelly and Jack at her side, the frail-looking 72-year-old made her way to this massive impromptu shrine to the rock legend.
Artists who were banned from Ozzy Osbourne's funeral, and the industry is stunned. The heavy metal world was left reeling after confirmation emerged that several well-known artists were deliberately barred from attending Ozzy Osbourne's private funeral service. Fans packed outside the gated grounds in silent disbelief, while former collaborators and industry legends were turned away at the gate, some in tears, others in anger. It wasn't just a matter of space or protocol. According to multiple sources close to the family, the list of banned individuals was personally curated by Osbourne's inner circle, allegedly based on past betrayals, public fallouts, and years-old feuds that never healed. The tight-knit rock community, already mourning the loss of one of its icons, found itself divided, and as whispers of "who made the list" spread like wildfire, confirmation of several names sparked outrage, disbelief, and even protest. One eyewitness, a longtime venue staffer who worked security during Ozzy's final Ozzfest tours, watched in stunned silence as a former guitarist was denied entry. He looked heartbroken. He just stood there with flowers in his hand and they told him to leave. No warning, no explanation, just a straight, "You're not on the list," he recalled. Below is a full breakdown of who was reportedly banned.
And gently placed a single purple rose, a quiet tribute to Ozzy's signature purple-tinted glasses. And then, just like Ozzy, flashed a peace sign to the crowd.
The rumored reasons why, and how the fans and fellow musicians are reacting in real time. The alleged band lists sources close to the Osbourne estate, many of whom asked not to be named, provided insight into some of the most shocking names reportedly blacklisted. Marilyn Manson. Once considered a protege and touring partner, Manson was nowhere to be seen. The fans speculated that ongoing controversies surrounding him may have made his presence unwelcome, especially as Sharon Osbourne has distanced herself from the singer in recent years. Bill Ward, original Black Sabbath drummer, in what many called a jaw-dropping snub, Ward was reportedly left off the invite list due to the lingering fallout from Black Sabbath's reunion negotiations. While Osbourne praised Ward in public statements over the years, insiders claim unresolved tension remained behind the scenes. Courtney Love, known for her unpredictable public statements and feud with Sharon Osbourne, Love's name being excluded came as no shock to those familiar with the pair's history. However, some fans outside the venue voiced frustration. Courtney helped keep the grunge rock pipeline to metal alive, said one fan wearing a patched denim vest. She should have at least been allowed to pay her respects. Tommy Lee. Despite being a fellow metal icon and longtime party companion, Tommy Lee was reportedly denied due to comments he made during a podcast interview that allegedly offended Ozzy's family. The specifics of those remarks remain unclear, but Lee's absence was loudly noticed. Rob Zombie. In a twist that surprised even insiders, Rob Zombie was also not seen entering the venue. There's no known personal rift, but some believe it may have stemmed from creative disputes or disagreements over past collaborations. Justin Bieber. Yes, Bieber. Rumors swirled after a fan posted a video claiming Bieber attempted to attend as a show of respect. He has often expressed admiration for Osbourne's legacy, but if he tried, he never made it past the gate. Security reportedly didn't recognize him at first. Security tight, emotions high. City officials confirmed they coordinated with the Osbourne family to ensure privacy and safety during the proceedings. Police erected barriers stretching nearly 2 city blocks around the venue, while private security enforced the list.
The thought of not being with him is just unthinkable.
The family, united in grief, dressed in all black. Ozzy's rarely seen 41-year-old daughter Amy fought back tears. Next to her, Louis, Ozzy's son from his first marriage, but his 2 siblings were not seen.
This was more locked down than some presidential visits I've seen, said one retired officer. They weren't playing games. If your name wasn't on that list, you didn't get in. Fans, many of whom waited hours just to catch a glimpse of the arrival caravans, expressed everything from sorrow to outrage. "I don't care if Sharon had beef with some of these people," one fan shouted into a local news mic. Ozzy wouldn't have wanted them turned away. "This feels wrong." Another younger fan in a classic Diary of a Madman tee was more understanding. "He deserved peace. Maybe these people brought too much noise." Sharon Osbourne's role. Though she didn't make any public statements during the ceremony, several close friends confirmed that Sharon Osbourne played a decisive role in vetting the guest list. One longtime producer revealed she was very clear this was going to be on her terms. No drama, no headlines. Just people who really loved Ozzy, not opportunists. Still, others believed the list was driven by personal grudges and lingering tension that remained unresolved until the very end. "She controlled everything," said a former bandmate who asked to remain anonymous. "And if she didn't like you well, today was your judgment day." The fans outside dozens gathered holding handmade signs and candles. One group sang soft renditions of "No More Tears," while others waved banners that read, "The Prince of Darkness forever," and "Let the Madman rest." One man who flew in from Birmingham, England, stood stone-faced. He was more than music. Ozzy was a movement. And now, we're not even allowed to say goodbye properly. Another group launched a chant, "Let them in, let them in," aimed at the iron gates. Though there was no response, social media fallout. Within hours, hashtags like "Let Zombie In," "Justice Forward," and "Ozzy wouldn't ban them" began trending across platforms. Celebrities also weighed in. Sebastian Bach tweeted, "Heartbroken to hear who got turned away. This isn't what the metal community stands for." Jack Black posted a cryptic video simply saying, "Metal forgives," or at least, it should.
Kelly, who wore Ozzy's trademark glasses, hugged younger brother Jack.
Your dad's your best friend, right? Yeah.
My dad is my best friend.
Ozzy's procession included a brass band and 6 Mercedes funeral cars. The Jaguar hearse carrying his coffin was adorned with purple flowers spelling Ozzy. At about 12:45, it passed by Ozzy's childhood home.
Lizzie Hale commented, "Regardless of the list, Ozzy's legacy is too big to be boxed in." Industry divide. While many respected the Osbourne family's desire for privacy, others in the music world were blunt. "You don't get to pick and choose who mourns an icon," said one promoter who worked on several Ozzfests. "That's not rock. That's censorship." Some are even calling for a public memorial, urging the Osbourne family to allow fans and excluded artists a proper chance to honor the icon. Rumors already swirl about a reunion tribute concert being organized by those who were left out. One promoter teased a mega show in Osbourne's honor, featuring only those who were not allowed inside the gates. Final word from the fans. As the sun dipped and candles flickered outside the gates, one older fan, leather jacket, silver chain, eyes glassy, spoke quietly into a reporter's recorder. "He saved our lives with his music. He didn't judge us for being weird or broken. Now they judged his friends. Doesn't sit right." He paused, looking back at the barricade. "But I hope Ozzy's somewhere laughing his ass off about all of this." As the shock of Ozzy Osbourne's funeral guest list exclusions rippled through the music world, what started as whispers of private snubs quickly escalated into a full-blown public reckoning. The Osbourne family's refusal to address the growing controversy only intensified the uproar, pushing once private feuds and long-buried resentments back into the spotlight. By nightfall, the narrative had shifted. No longer was the story about grief, it had become about power, pride, and who truly gets to grieve a legend. The fans weren't just mourning Ozzy anymore, they were angry. Public response turns volatile as fans realized that some of their favorite icons had been turned away. Tensions outside the cemetery gates reached a boiling point. Candles gave way to chants. Mourning turned into frustration. Collective grief turned into protest. "This wasn't a family funeral," said a fan in tears, clutching a vinyl of Blizzard of Oz. "This was our loss too. You don't get to erase people from Ozzy's legacy because you don't like them anymore." Street artists scrawled tributes on nearby brick walls, while murals with phrases like "Let the Madman's friends in" and "Music Politics" began to pop up across Los Angeles. Some fans wore black tape over their mouths in symbolic protest, while others shouted out the names of the artists they believed had been silenced. The unofficial memorial movement begins. As public frustration surged, musicians and fans alike began organizing an impromptu memorial event.
There would be no heavy metal without Ozzy Osbourne. He felt like a family member to so many people.
My audience is better than any drugs, alcohol, sex, woman, relationships. It's the best love affair of my life. It's as if I've lived 3 lives, but it's all been worth it as far as I'm concerned, and I'd do it all again tomorrow.
Meant to honor Ozzy Osbourne on their own terms, free from curation, politics, or exclusion. Spearheaded by a coalition of former Ozzfest performers, underground metal bands, and even a few DJs who played Ozzy's tracks for decades, the Madman Live's tribute show is now in the works. While no official venue has been announced yet, the demand is explosive. We don't need velvet ropes and security clearance to remember Ozzy. One local band leader declared, "We need volume, chaos, distortion, and love. That's what he gave us. That's how we'll repay him." Rumors suggest Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, and even members of Ozzy's early solo band have already been invited. If this event happens, it won't just be a concert. It'll be a statement. Sharon Osbourne, calm or calculated. Amid the swirling backlash, Sharon Osbourne has remained completely silent. No interviews, no tweets, no statements, not even a repost of condolences. Her silence has only poured fuel on the fire. Industry insiders are split. Some defend her, arguing she's still in mourning and not responsible for the logistics. Others believe her silence is strategic, meant to let the dust settle while the critics burn themselves out. But one former business manager wasn't buying it. Sharon doesn't do anything by accident. If someone was banned, it was because she made that call. Still, a few voices have called for grace. A message posted on a fan forum read, "This woman just lost her husband. Maybe wait before you tear her apart for making tough calls." Banned artists break their silence. One by one, the artists allegedly excluded have begun breaking their silence, and the reactions range from heartbreak to hostility. Bill Ward, via a short but gut-wrenching message, posted, "I wanted to be there. I thought I would be. That's all I'll say." Marilyn Manson, known for theatrical silence, shared a cryptic post. "Not everyone deserves a seat at the table. Some of us built the table." Tommy Lee didn't hold back, posting a story with nothing but, "WTF, locked out of the gates. That's love, huh?" Rob Zombie, who had once called Ozzy a mentor, went live on Instagram for 3 minutes, playing a slowed-down cover of Goodbye to Romance. He said nothing, but the tears in his eyes spoke louder than words. Media and podcasts jump in the press wasn't far behind.
Ozzy once spoke about rising from his humble roots.
If it wasn't for the Beatles turning me on to music in a big way, I don't know what I would do without music.
Major music outlets ran headlines like "Osbourne estate under fire," "Fans demand explanation over funeral bans," "Final tour," "Why did Sharon exclude Ozzy's oldest friends?" "Legacy or control," "The fight over who gets to mourn," "The Prince of Darkness." Metal radio stations devoted hours to call-ins. Podcasters who once praised the Osbourne brand were now debating whether the family had gone too far. One episode titled "From Bat Bites to Blacklist" accused the estate of turning a cultural funeral into a private show of ego. Another host summed up what many were thinking. Ozzy was all of us. He was chaos. He was love. You don't gatekeep that. A growing divide. In rock culture, the controversy has now ignited a wider conversation about who owns a rock star's legacy when they're gone. Is it the fans, the family, the bandmates who stood beside them for decades, the roadies, the kids raised on Ozzy lyrics? Even within fan communities, rifts are forming. Some believe the family's right to control the event should be respected. Others are calling for a permanent cultural shift. "This isn't just about Ozzy," one young fan posted. "This is about every icon. We can't keep letting PR teams rewrite history, while the people who were there get locked outside." A surprising ally emerges. Late into the night, one of the most unexpected figures came forward, Kelly Osbourne. While she didn't explicitly mention the bands, her brief statement sent waves through the scene. This was about love, not headlines, not grudges, not spin, just love. If you didn't feel that, then maybe it wasn't for you. Interpretations varied. Some saw it as a subtle confirmation of the bands. Others took it as a heartfelt defense of her family. But for the critics, it wasn't enough. "She's gaslighting the entire metal world," one podcast host fired back. "You can't say it was about love and lock out half the people who loved him most." What happens next? Despite the uproar, the Osbourne estate has given no indication it plans to comment further or host any additional public ceremonies. But the story is far from over. Fan-organized vigils continue to grow. Artists are lining up to speak out, and a reckoning over legacy and control is erupting in real time. One thing's for sure, Ozzy Osbourne's funeral may be over, but the fallout from it is just beginning. As the dust settled from the controversial private funeral of Ozzy Osbourne, what emerged from the shadows wasn't just outrage, it was action. The fans, the snubbed artists, and the disillusioned members of the rock community banded together to do what the official ceremony failed to.
Ozzy had returned to Birmingham only days before his death for one final performance in front of 40,000 fans. But the biggest surprise came backstage.
You know I love you more than anything in the world.
celebrate the legacy of the Prince of Darkness without politics, gatekeeping, or controlled narratives. The result? A massive, grassroots, industry-defiant event now being hailed as the real farewell to Ozzy. The Madman Lives Memorial, chaos, catharsis, and community organized. In just under a week by a mix of independent promoters, former Ozzfest crew members, and loyal fans, the event, unofficially dubbed the Madman Lives, was held in an open-air industrial park that once hosted underground metal shows in the early 2000s. But this was no casual gathering. Over 25,000 people showed up. No barricades, no VIP sections, no approved guest list. Just music, memories, and raw emotion. The parking lots overflowed. Street vendors sold Ozzy-themed shirts with slogans like "Banned but not forgotten," and "We were there, even if they said we couldn't be." Fans flew in from across the country. Some said they'd skipped the official live stream of the funeral in protest. Others said this was the only version of goodbye they needed. A massive mural was unveiled mid-show featuring Ozzy with angel wings made of guitar necks, surrounded by the faces of every artist who had reportedly been banned from the family-sanctioned funeral. Setlist of the century. Who performed? Despite initial uncertainty, the tribute concert's lineup became the stuff of metal legend. Some of the biggest names who had either been banned or overlooked showed up in full force. Rob Zombie opened the night with a haunting rendition of Mr. Crowley that brought the crowd to silence before erupting in screams. Marilyn Manson, introduced by a surprise voiceover from a pre-recorded Henry Rollins, performed "Diary of a Madman," wearing a long black cloak and tear-streaked face paint. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. Tommy Lee, joined by a rotating cast of drummers from Ozzy's touring past, led a thunderous percussion tribute during Crazy Train, igniting a full mosh pit in the front rows. Duff McKagan of Guns N' Roses appeared in a surprise slot to cover "Goodbye to Romance," dedicating it to those who weren't allowed to say goodbye in person. Courtney Love, in a shock performance many didn't expect, came on stage to deliver an emotional spoken word letter to Ozzy before screaming through a raw punk cover of "Flying High Again." Former members of Black Sabbath, including musicians once considered estranged, took the stage at the end in a massive closing number, an unrehearsed, chaotic, soul-rattling jam session that ended with the entire crowd chanting, "Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy." The fans took the mic. In between sets, the stage was open to fans, real fans, people who had lined up in front of record stores to buy Bark at the Moon, fans who'd been kicked out of school for wearing Ozzy shirts, a woman who named her son after him, a man who met his wife in the crowd of an Ozzfest in '99. One fan sobbed into the mic. "They said we didn't belong at the funeral, but Ozzy belonged to all of us. He raised us, he saved us, and tonight we're giving him back." Another man, clutching an old VIP pass, shouted, "I was backstage in '88, and I was outside the gates last week. The only difference, this time, we made the stage." A message from the stage. This is what Ozzy wanted.
Ozzy cracking that joke as Kelly's boyfriend and baby daddy, Slipknot rocker Sid Wilson, popped the question.
Will you marry me?
Now Kelly's joy has turned to grief. Her first post since her father's death, sharing the lyrics to his song Changes. Ozzy was laid to rest in a private ceremony, a final goodbye for the Prince of Darkness.
Midway through the night, a video montage played on the Jumbotron compiled entirely from fan-submitted clips. No polished interviews, no producers, just shaky VHS footage, old concert ticket stubs, bootleg recordings, tattoos, posters, Ozzy impersonators, basement cover bands, and heartfelt tributes. At the end of the video, a quote from Ozzy appeared in bold red lettering, "I'm nothing without the fans. They made me. They kept me alive." The crowd screamed in unison. Some cried. Others fell to their knees. For many, it was the emotional closure they'd been denied during the private ceremony. Backlash intensifies against the Osbourne estate. While Sharon Osbourne and the rest of the family remained silent, public sentiment has only grown more critical. Petitions demanding a public remembrance are now gaining hundreds of thousands of signatures. Music outlets are running op-eds titled, "Ozzy belonged to the world, not just the estate. The funeral that forgot the fans. The real tribute was the one they couldn't control." Podcasters, music historians, and even fellow celebrities are weighing in. Comedian Jack Black posted a selfie from the fan-organized event, captioned, "This was rock, this was Ozzy, this was real." Meanwhile, ticket scalpers who tried to sell wristbands to the private funeral's memorial livestream were met with online backlash, doxing threats, and mass reporting campaigns. Industry response: quiet but watching. While major record labels and Ozzy's former management teams have declined to comment, some industry insiders believe this moment could mark a paradigm shift in how legacy artists are memorialized. "This wasn't just about one artist," said one A&R rep from a major label. "This was about reclaiming the narrative. The fans took back control. That's never happened at this scale before." There are even rumors of a documentary already in the works chronicling the band list, the backlash, and the tribute event from start to finish. The final song. As the night came to a close, a young teen no more than 15 stepped onto the edge of the stage, holding a beat-up guitar and a Black Sabbath patch on his hoodie. He strummed the opening chords of "Mama, I'm Coming Home." The crowd, tens of thousands strong, sang every word. No pyrotechnics, no lights. Just one kid, one guitar, and a song. It was the loudest, quietest, most powerful goodbye of the entire week. Legacy secured. Whatever happened behind the scenes at Ozzy Osbourne's funeral, the fans made one thing clear: they will write the final chapter. And they just did.